This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
A fork in the road is the term being used to describe the holdup in Jean Charles's case. The hearing for the polarizing citizenship saga took place today in the Supreme Court in front of Justice Gregory Hilton, but for the third time in a week, the ruling has been put off. This as both counsel for the applicant and respondents had agreed upon terms of consent for the application of stay, but upon further deliberation, it was revealed that there was a slight difference in opinion over the language in the initial draft. Our news team caught up with Attorney General Carl Bethel on the steps of the Supreme Court, who said he is not deterred by the slight delay, but his only concern is the fast tracking of the case to the Court of Appeal.
No, we will continue in our discussions with the other side. Firstly, what is most important to us from a policy point of view is that we have a clean, unimpeded, and rapid approach to the Court of Appeal without side issues, and that we can have a clear determination of all of the legal questions posed by this case by the Court of Appeal. That is the intent, and I think both sides to this issue share the same strategic goal, and whatever the impediment that occurred today was, I'm sure we'll find a way to get over that on Monday so that we could cease bothering Justice Hilton and get before the Court of Appeal where we can get an authoritative determination of these issues.
Differing, however, was Jean Charles's attorney, QC Fred Smith.
I differ with the Attorney General, however, in saying that he's waiting for some other court to determine rights. The Supreme Court of the Bahamas is the one that is provided for in the first instance by the Constitution to pronounce on people's rights. And the Supreme Court has pronounced definitively in a judgment for Jean Roney. And so we rely on the Supreme Court's pronouncement on the various issues. And we will defend that judgment as much as possible on appeal and all the way to the Privy Council.
The trial was initially put off on Monday after Lauren Klein of the Office of the Attorney General filed amended documents to have the judge stay his ruling, which prompted Smith to petition the court for time to consider the new documents. The matter was adjourned until Monday at 2:30 p.m. 7 foreign nationals who were unlawfully detained at the Carmichael Road Detention Center were unconditionally released yesterday by Supreme Court Justice Gregory Hilton. The group's attorney, Queen's Counsel Fred Smith, feels the judgment was nothing more than a repeat performance.
They say exactly the same thing as judgments that have been said by this Supreme Court since the 1980s, since I started doing habeas corpus cases. Chief Justice Hartman Longley, Justice John Isaacs, now in the Court of Appeal, Acting Chief Justice Stephen Isaacs, Dame Anita Allen, when Justice Hilton is merely repeating for the benefit of the government again that the Bahamas is governed by the rule of law. And there is an Immigration Act, there is a Criminal Procedure Code, and there is a Constitution which says everybody is presumed innocent and you cannot simply hold people indefinitely, either at Fox Hill or the detention center, without charging them with an offense.
Mr. Smith stressed human rights group Rights Bahamas only wants due process.
We are not promoting illegal immigration, but we want the government to respect the law as much as the government wants everybody else to respect the law. Cases today were those of Ricardo Johnson, Raymond Regionville, Simeon Emmanuel, Michelo Murillo. These are all the people who are very happy to have been released today, and William O'Neill. All of these people have never been charged with a criminal offense. They were simply arrested and detained and held unlawfully. And that is what the Supreme Court is doing again, is reaffirming the rights of every person in the Bahamas under the Constitution to a right to due process, to be taken before a court or be released. It is not the Immigration Department that is the judge, jury, and executioner. It is only the Supreme Court that decides whether a person is or is not guilty of committing an offense.
Meantime, close to 30 illegal Haitian nationals discovered in South New Providence early this morning. From what we've been told, police patrolling the Marshall Road area discovered the first 3. The Defense Force was alerted the area was combed combed, and a wooden sailing sloop was found just after 4 a.m. A subsequent search by Defense Force, police, and immigration officers led to the apprehension of another 25 undocumented Haitians. Investigations are ongoing. 2 Jamaican nationals were remanded without bail after they were brought before magistrate court today on drug charges. Appearing before Deputy Chief Magistrate Subola Swain was 41-year-old Michael Williams of Opulent Drive and 46-year-old Charlotte Mitchell of Cox Way. Both defendants were charged with 1 count of possession of cocaine with intent to supply, 1 count of importation of cocaine, 1 count of conspiracy to possess cocaine, and 1 count of conspiracy to import cocaine. The investigations into this matter started back on February 1st, where the alleged was found with 19.4 pounds of cocaine with a street value of $127,500. Williams was represented by attorney Ian Cargill, while Mitchell was represented by attorney Nathan Smith. Both pleaded not guilty to all charges, and the matter is adjourned until April 26. No secret that the Department of Corrections is bursting at the seams. But what is alarming is the finding that the Bahamas is ranked number 5 in the Caribbean and 34 in the world in terms of the highest prison occupancy. So says World Prison Brief, that ranked the Bahamas at 172.7%. Topping the list, though, is Haiti with 454.4%, followed by Grenada at 234.8%, Antigua and Barbuda 226.7%, and the Dominican Republic 188.5%. Tragedy over in Grand Bahama following a traffic accident that's left a man dead. Police say it was just before 8 this morning that a 2001 blue and white tour bus traveled along Coral Road and Settlers Way collided with the man attempting to cross the street. The pedestrian died on the scene. The matter's under active investigations. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.